one of the partners for Slasher Films. He and I met at a party, and he's a friend of my wife's. Somehow we got on the subject of horror, and he produced Session 9. And so, you know, given the opportunity to have a conversation with somebody about horror, because nobody else will ever talk to me about that, I just unleashed all this information on him and my whole opinion of what's great about horror, what's not so great about horror, and all the different sort of branches of the genre. He was like, yeah, you know, you should make a good producer. And I didn't take him seriously, and then he started sending me scripts, and I found I really had the aptitude and the patience to be able to really get into these scripts. I picked 3 that I really liked out of the dozen or so scripts that I read, and he said, let's do one of these. And the one that I liked that was possible to do within a budget that seemed reasonable for a first-time producer was Nothing to Fear, is what it was called, and we later changed the name to Nothing Left to Fear. Basically, it's centered around this town, a real live town called Stull in Kansas. And Kansas has this insane sort of internet folklore around it, which says it claims it to be one of the 7 gateways to hell. And it's got this infamous cemetery that you'll get arrested if you enter it. It's fenced off. The Pope won't fly over Stull. The funniest one for me was the band The Cure wouldn't play in the adjacent town next to it. Well, and there's a church, and the pastor of this church invites a young family who is headed by the father's a pastor as well, that lives in the city, and invites them to move to Stull and set up roots there and become the new pastor so this other pastor can retire. So the young family, it's 2 teenage daughters and a 10-year-old son, and husband and wife, and they think, well, it's the will of God that they've been asked to do this. But it turns out that the whole reason for luring this family to Stull is basically there's a demonic ritual that goes on there every 18 or so years, and it's been going on for thousands and thousands of years, and it's the town's little secret, is they have to satiate the demon from this portal to hell with the blood of the innocent to keep him from raining hellfire on earth. And in order to do that, they have to basically open the porthole and let the demon enter one of the members of the family, and then that demon gets to kill off the other members of the family, and everything's good. They can close it up and continue on. Anthony and I talked about what the vibe was, and I started writing music for it and sending it to Anthony so he could hear it. And then he introduced me to a composer named Nicholas O'Toole, and I got together with him and I gave him my music, and then because we wanted an orchestrated kind of score, and he started developing all these great sounds for it, and it was a really good working relationship. And what happens when I score is I write completely different than I do when I'm writing for a band, say to make a record. There's a whole different side of me that comes out when I'm scoring. So it's really intriguing for me. So I'm really proud of the way that this came out.
He's your servant, Lord. This is his will.